You know, when we look at YouTube's policies, some of the content that I was making specifically did cover upon people that were actually predatory towards underage people on the internet, and that's a big problem. It's a reality. Whether you go on YouTube, whether you go on Facebook, whether you go on Discord, whether you go on any platform, there's always creepy adults who are willing to use their power and advantage to overpower actual underage individuals.
We're gonna be watching, I think, what is it? Pick a side, YouTube. It's gonna be, so basically, to my knowledge, I've watched a little bit of this, and then I was like, oh, I should save this for a stream, because this is actually really interesting to me. So pick a side YouTube is, I believe there was this one guy, what's his name? What's the creator's name?
Mama
It's like
Max.
Mama Max, who like, doesn't he make like the Predator like expose videos where he like goes in depth and like rings and shit like that? And that's really interesting content to me.
Worried.
But it seems like that's been getting struck down a lot on YouTube. So I think that I think that's what this is about. It's about the fact that these videos tend to get struck down. And I want to go over that on stream, on a stream where I feel relatively more cheery than usual. I've gotten some sleep, LMS skits. You finally got your wish, buddy. I took that fucking nap.
Can I give my ironic opinion about that, or no?
Well, you can give your opinion about it once we start watching it. So that's the meta, right? That's what we're doing today.
We don't like pedophiles.
Okay. Thanks, buddy.
That is what we are doing today.
Eye to eye with.
Cool. Thank you so much, Twitter, for playing things in the middle. So I watched about 3 minutes into this video. I think we're gonna start it from the very beginning. And this video interests me. Was it
good? Why am I
what's up, Prime Minute Leftist? I don't know. I watched 3 minutes of it, but somebody asked that I cover this.
I watched the entire video, but I don't want to spoil
Again,
it.
I'm literally talking. Nifty. You could hear me talking. I know my audio is working. I know you can hear me. And you hear that, and it's like something goes off in your brain. The two brain cells rub together, and you're like, I should start talking fucking now. Right now, when I'm in the middle of a sentence, because fuck me.
Penis.
Alright, listen. I'm happy relatively today compared to how I normally am on stream. And you're not gonna fucking...
You mean you were happy?
I was happy, and then you fuckers ruined it. Except for you, Creeper. Creeper's cool. Creeper shuts the fuck up from time to time. None of you do.
I'm...
Ratio.
This is like, this is like after hours. If, like, Boblax, Nick, and Aiden were all somehow more autistic.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is like after hours if Bo Blacks had like downs. Like he was more than just a little slow.
Okay,
right?
let's not go into the ableism. All right, I can say that because I am autistic. I can throw that out. You can't. You can't. I don't want to hear your anti-Down syndrome rant. Okay, so we're gonna be getting into this video. That's the wrong thing. We don't want that.
Anti-Down syndrome.
Holy, just dude.
How was that an anti-Down syndrome?
If he had Down syndrome, the worst thing.
That's not what I'm saying.
Shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. Just shut the... It is. It's terrible. I don't know how you're all like so...
That's why I don't call in.
terrible. Anyways, so...
I don't call in anymore.
Okay, I'm literally deafening myself because you guys can't shut the hell up. So... This video was actually sent to me, and it was requested, because this video came out today, it was requested that I cover this on stream. And I said I'd do it tonight, expecting that I had nothing else to cover on stream. Turns out I made other obligations to other people also to be on stream, covering different things. So today, we're knocking out a little bit of a post-Christmas clarity stream, where we're going to get through all of that shit in like an hour. I give myself about an hour for this shit. I'm not going over that. So we're probably, actually speaking of, we're probably only going to get through like this one video. We're probably going to cover like the other like shit commentary shit tomorrow. And we'll get through it, right? It's about a 30-minute long video. It's called Pick a Side YouTube. And it seems to be mostly focused on the idea that YouTube has been like taking down some content, which generally doesn't seem to be. Are you covering the Mr. Girl stuff? I actually do have a little bit of coverage on that on my Twitter. I do plan to go over that, I think, tomorrow. I think tomorrow is a really good day to go over that, because the day after that, I'm going to be taking some time. I have some plans with family. I've been actually making a lot more plans with family. I've been trying to like, reconnect more, kind of like re-stabilize around the Christmas season, because like this is the time that I have off work. I can like put myself into a better place. But yeah, we're going to be watching this video on stream. It's going to be great. We're going to see if these people are done ranting yet. Are you all done with your spurging spree?
Creep. Yes, we've been done.
I'm gonna go in this VC, and this is only for the tolerable people. All right, you guys can like stay in there. All right, you guys are the tolerable ones. I like you guys.
All right.
I like you guys. All right.
All right.
By the way, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, these are my epic co-hosts. Creeper, Communist Creeper, always epic editor. Basically keeps the YouTube channel running. If without Communist Creeper, we don't have a YouTube channel. We don't get those highlights. Because Creeper is just like so on that shit. And then we have Nifty, who is the token socialist of the group, who isn't completely nuts.
Exactly.
And then we have Liam, a person who makes sure that we all look sane by comparison.
Shut the fuck up.
That was funny. That was funny. And you laughed. I could hear you like chuckling, trying to hold it in because you know that was funny as fuck. No, you can't say you can't say the C word. You can't say the game. You can't
Captain Crunch. Captain
You need to.
I'm gonna actually say it. I actually want to say it.
Can you shut the fuck up so Bunk can introduce me?
And then we have Clancy. Clancy is the residential Hassan viewer who makes this appealing to Hassan to TWT.
So true. I'm.
They're also bad at Fortnite, but we don't talk about that.
Commentary Twitter ambassador to host.
So how does it feel? How does it feel to be the ambassador to the worst part of Twitter?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's
it is kind of
like. How does it feel to like? Okay, let's say you get up, right? You enter a room, like you're off camera or whatever. You have to enter like through this doorway. And you're like, hey guys, I'm the ambassador for Hassan Twitter. I'm basically the king of the fucking dump heap, alright? Listen, I'm important. So I'm important relativistically. Like that's like coming in and saying, I'm actually the principal of a homeschool.
I'm the principal of a trash.
Nice one, dog. Nice.
I'm the CEO of a
that. Okay, that is kind of like being an ambassador to Auschwitz.
I like how we were supposed. I gave the introduction to this video like 10 minutes ago, and we've somehow. We need to just like do more like dumbass parties here because we could talk for ages. I realize like I can talk for fucking ever.
Yeah, we really don't talk a lot unless we're streaming, other than like me and you.
Bunk,
no.
I need to show you something in my room.
No, shut up. No, we're going over a video. We're going over a video. We're going over a video.
Nifty, you are the homie, but I do not care.
Please.
You guys need to stop. Okay, no, we can go over this afterward. Okay? Oh, okay. No, shut up. Please shut up. Okay, we're going over the video. We're going over the video, and you're all getting muted if you don't, like... I've deafened for all of them.
On November 26th,
we're at peace now.
My good friend Max published a video exposing the colossal pedo ring that is IMVU.
We need to speed this up because I'm not going to get through this otherwise.
Child predator, known in-game as Pablo Sunny, a pedophile with an extensive history of grooming multiple teenage girls. And to no one's surprise,
alright,
YouTube tore it down like none of it ever happened. The fickle thing about it, though, is that the video was cut and censored in accordance with the community guidelines, manually reviewed by your staff in order for the family-friendly shell that remained to be available on your platform, even if age-restricted. I myself have personally seen the entire video, and there is not one timestamp you could find that does anything even remotely illicit, especially compared to the categorical obscenities that already play
I'm just saying,
and for what?
Really?
Because of the bare ass of a virtual character.
Can you turn it up a bit? It's a bit quiet.
Max
documenting is formally... Can I? Oh, give me 1 second. Does this make it sound any louder? Oh, actually, no, I see. I can change it.
Unknown behavior in a 90-minute documentary.
Is that good? Can we all hear it? Is the stream good? Can you guys hear it?
Horrors of pedophilia and child sexual abuse in IMVU is somehow sexually gratifying to you? Everything was perfectly fine for the first half fucking million people who watched it, but the very second Team YouTube watches it. Interesting. We tried resolving it with you peacefully, but you were unwilling to budge like the apologist you allegedly are. And Max has had enough.
Now, the problem with this, and I've seen this, and actually, I've started a new podcast. This is going to be a shameless plug, by the way, because it's kind of relevant to what I'm going to say. I started a podcast with two other kind of commentatory people. I'm like halfway between being a commentator and being a Twitch, political Twitch, whatever the fuck, right? I cover drama, and I also cover political Twitch shit. One thing that I do think is really interesting is that issues like this tend to arise, and I actually had a discussion with Jaco and Pieman on the first episode of this podcast. We got in actually a pretty heated argument. I had argued for a, what would you say, a much more specific and much more consistently enforced YouTube TOS. Because for some reason, people seem to have the idea that having a looser TOS somehow allows for content creators to get away with more. In reality, it doesn't. Whenever you have content like pedo exposed videos, like these really gritty, in-depth things where you're going to have to go into some really traumatic subject matter for people, the thing is, you are going to have to tread really close by those guidelines, and you need to know, when you're covering those subjects, what exactly will get you striked and what won't. So, this type of content that we're actually looking at on the stream right now, this content is actually jeopardized by those types of guidelines. The way that YouTube has their guidelines set up is very generalized, and it seems that it's not really enforced by anything more than like, you'll know it when you see it, right? And that seems to be the way that things like, for example, COVID guidelines are enforced. COVID misinformation guidelines are incredibly hard to get around, and that's why I've actually not been able to cover COVID-19 related content. I've not been able to debate people on things like COVID-19 misinformation because I don't know what will get me struck. I genuinely don't. And I've read over the terms and conditions multiple different times. The problem is that when you have such generalized guidelines like YouTube does, you have these problems arise for people who do tread the line. They will run into issues. And I think that's what's going to happen throughout this video. I think that's what we're going to be pointing out. That whenever we actually have guidelines that are very generalized and kind of apply whenever they see fit, it discourages people from going into those kind of more gray areas because you're not sure if your content's safe there, and it generally isn't. So I think that's what this video is primarily about. That's kind of like a prediction of mine, but like from my time on YouTube, from my time watching people do things on YouTube, from my time being, for example, in talkings with other YouTube creators, I generally have connections that are much larger than my size. It seems like things like this would discourage people from going into those very specific, very detailed recountings of, for example, graphic things, sensitive subject matter, and thereon.
Someone tell Bunk to fucking
kidding.
Alright.
Finally, okay. Can you finish the video so we can see it?
Alright.
Thanks. Yeah, I saw that.
Alright.
What the fuck is this intro?
How many bloody times do we have to do this dance? You fuck with us, we fuck with you, and history repeats itself. Whether it's intentional or not, you endlessly punish those of us who create content in response to injustice, speaking up for victims, like children, and pursuing the perpetrators, like pedophiles. It is volatile, intense, disturbing, upsetting, raw, and real. Because that is the subject matter it is covering, and that is the way it should be covered, as my audience, many of whom are CSA survivors, have instructed me to do. But no matter how vital the video may be to them, you take down our shit and continue to help absolutely no one besides the evil people we are trying to expose, and the survivors continue to scream in agonizing silence. But maybe that's the way you like it. I will let my colleagues take a more measured and balanced approach to this discussion, and despite all of the conflicting personalities you're about to see, you'll notice that there's one thing that does bring us all together. We don't like pedophiles. Something you don't seem to see eye to eye with us on.
I disagree. I think there's some pretty... Okay, we're not going down there.
No, I think
the way that was set up was very, very intense.
Okay, hold on. Can you explain? Okay,
Shut the hell up.
This dude sounds really fucking sexy. I'm dead serious.
You're rude.
We don't need to be simping over the narrator. We can do that on our own time, off stream. I can talk.
What are you talking about?
We can have our Discord.
We can have our very important discourse as to whether the narrator's voice is sexy or incredibly
it's not
sexy.
Discourse if it's true.
It's not. He sounds like a fucking Disney villain.
I like how Nifty changed his
So,
name to it wasn't
Nifty.
me.
Osama from fucking Aladdin.
Nifty. Grab a gun like this, but like make sure it's real, you know, it's got like functioning parts, you can pull a trigger, the shit comes out, and I want you to put it inside. Fucking pull the trigger. You degenerate as fuck.
No.
You can't say these things.
That's a good counterpoint. Anyways, we're going back to the video.
It's encouraging suicide.
In Roblox.
In Minecraft. I'm playing Minecraft right now.
YouTube messes with me all the time. I remember one time I got 3 strikes, they banned me. I appealed the ban, I said, hey, this is unfair, and they said nope, they rejected my appeal. I've learned a long time ago you simply cannot trust Google. They still delete my videos to this day. And I really hate saying it, but I don't have pride in YouTube anymore. The amount of censorship is completely disheartening, especially when people need to see this content.
If there's something that the internet has shown us time and time again in regards to independent investigations, it's that the average person can notice something that an investigator might miss the first or second time. And as such, investigative content should really be encouraged.
YouTube is clearly delusional at this point, censoring us all and blatantly ignoring the good that comes from heavily investigated content. The awareness that spreads from such videos are immense. Is that not a good thing though? It honestly feels like YouTube is trying to protect these up people, and that's not okay. This is why we've got to step in.
Personally, I don't think YouTube ever cared about any of us. They only cared if you're one of their poster childs, but most importantly, you have to be incredibly—
Isn't that the guy who said the N-word and then said it was bad to say the N-word?
He said the N-word so many times. He made the
Didn't he make a leak use your video?
Look,
Yeah.
I will acknowledge that it's probably bad to say the N-word, but it's really funny when
you said the N-word 30 minutes ago.
We all have our slip-ups. We all have our mistakes. That was one of them. Unironically, I forgot that I was live for a couple seconds
you're
there.
white. Yeah, it's like committing a hate crime if you're white, right? You know, you'll go down.
No, I think okay.
Had
So
a bad moment.
So obviously, we can get into a slow discourse later. It seems like it's probably a bad thing, but it's not like a huge deal bad thing, right? We have,
Yes,
but it's really funny when people who try to make it into like a huge deal, like, oh my god, somebody said they said something really offensive, and they have just a horrible past of like, it's like that one meme where it's like there's this one anime person that you're looking at a picture or like at a person, and it's like a really kind lady, and they hold up a little photo, and it's like an SS officer that looks just like her. That's what Elvis the Alien is. He's got this really dark past as an SS officer, and then he's going out to preach about how horrible that shit is. But not me, though.
Elvis the Alien's videos, hot take.
Elvis the Alien's videos are good. His movie reviews are good. All right, he's legitimately great.
His Spider-Man video that he dropped recently was actually really good.
I can't watch it yet.
Yeah, he's also kind of cute.
Okay, okay, shut the fuck up. Can we not simp over every single male that would be within this video? I know it's really hard. I know it's really hard.
He's like 32. Creeper, he's like 32.
You guys just have so many issues when it comes to these things. It's like you see a man.
Forehead has an
no,
issue.
this is legitimately leftist Twitter. It's you see a male and you're like, holy shit, I'm hard as fuck right now. It's like a 1 to 2 like scenario. It's not, there's not a thought process. It just happens.
It's not even that. I just think he's fucking cute.
Bunk, his forehead's giving me issues. Fuck you.
You want to say that to my face, motherfucker?
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Elvis.
I guarantee you, I have a Jax Films reminiscent forehead. Elvis has got like Liam, you won't be able to make fun of voice cracks anymore once you get old enough to actually reach puberty to the point where your voice does change.
What are you gonna make fun of my eyes? You're gonna make fun of my little Asian eyes?
Do you have like PTSD last time I did? Oh man, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to send you my condolences. My condolences that you look Asian but you're white. You look Asian but you're white. I'm so sorry that your entire family is basically safe, but you have like a 70% increased chance of getting hit by a hate crime. All right, I'm sorry about that.
My dad was a missionary, but it doesn't really count.
All right, buddy, we're getting back into the video. We can't keep doing this shit.
Innocent channels are getting completely destroyed. I've dealt with it myself multiple times.
90% of the issues with YouTube could be resolved if Google just hired a team of real people to look over and see what's actually being done than what's just being reported. On YouTube, you're basically guilty until proven innocent. And people know this. My Dan Schneider video got 2 takedown requests, but I know of other smaller YouTubers who have talked about the whole Dan Schneider thing, and their shit got taken down because they were small channels and because they couldn't fight back.
You know, YouTube was actually a place for people to create back in the day. I mean, actually hire people to review and moderate videos, not auto-moderated robots. You know, I don't need like fucking R2D2 over here telling me that my info or any other creator's info isn't valuable to a cause when there's actual victims on the line.
Every single day we can see exploitative content trending on YouTube. Content such as family channel content that takes advantage of children. On the other hand, we have investigative content that is not only pushed back by the algorithm, not only demonetized, but actively hidden from subscribers who signed up to see that content. And this is a problem.
It feels like YouTube is constantly punishing the wrong people on its platform. I mean, this is something that I experienced with my fake animal rescue investigation. When all of a sudden my video started getting age restrictions, and then I started to receive community guideline warnings, which basically told me that if I kept making that content, then YouTube would have removed my channel. And what made it so much more frustrating was the fact that these channels that I was exposing just continued on fully monetized and not receiving any form of punishment.
Yeah, no, this is the exact same thing that I was talking about. As you like get into these territories where it's like, well, you're at risk because these guidelines are so generalized and they're so like
I have to delete my VOD. I have to delete my VOD.
Shut up, Liam. So as you get to a point, as you get to a point where you are in this gray area where it seems like guidelines are less consistently enforced and less well defined, you will discourage people inevitably from making videos because whether you like it or not, a YouTube community guideline strike is really hindering for a channel. The first one that you get restricts you from uploading for a week. That can kill a channel that uploads daily. Not only that, but it seems that your videos are pushed out less whenever you have community guideline strikes on you. I know this has been experienced by people like Xander Hall. They talked about it very openly on stream. You get hit pretty hard, and all that hard work that you put in that video is taken down. Especially if you're spending like 40 plus hours on a video, that is insanely punishing. So what you're going to be doing is you're just discouraging people from making that kind of content. Making that kind of content that would push those boundaries. Keeping people outside of those gray areas you'd be enabling for with less strict guidelines or less well-defined guidelines. It seems that our guidelines would need to be in a very specifically enforced way, or consistently enforced way, in a way that it was well-defined enough for people who operate within that somewhat gray area to know when they're crossing those guidelines. This is why social media shit should be a paid position rather than something you get paid for on the base of your output. Yeah, exactly. It seems like just the way that it's set up is horrible right now. And that's why I advocate against things like the way that community guidelines are set up. For example, with COVID-19, we can't have discourse with COVID-19. You can't debate somebody on COVID-19 without your video getting taken fucking down, or being at a high risk of getting taken down. Maybe if you're like a really large channel, you might be able to get away with it, but you're not going to be able to get away with that if you're like in our sector of YouTube. Now, I speak on COVID-19 guidelines because it's probably the most comparable thing. It's probably the like most noticeable like gray area that we seem to be in place with, because I don't make predator exposed content. I don't do this like deep dive investigation things. I used to do it. It was very extraneous, right? I used to help research those types of videos. It's not great for your psyche, but this is just something I'm more familiar with, but it seems to map on pretty well. We have these parts of our guidelines that are just really discouraging for that type of content, and it seems really, really bad. Yeah. Unless your channel, like Hunter Avalon, does a COVID debate all the time. Yeah, but like Hunter Avalon's huge. Hunter Avalon has like over 1 million subscribers. He's huge, right? Unless you're like the 300K range, you're gonna be getting struck down for COVID misinformation, and the likelihood of you getting that fucking channel back is slim to none. Like, you're gonna get struck. I know when I got struck for COVID misinformation last time, this was responding to an anti-mask video, actually. It took me a month. It took me a month, and 2 appeals, and multiple different Twitter accounts to even get YouTube to reconsider it. And then eventually, a month later, after the guideline strike was already put in place, and my channel was 1 strike away from termination, they eventually decided that it was a blatantly false strike. It is legitimately that poor of a system if you are not at like that high priority. It seems like these types of things will arise naturally from the way that guidelines are set up as we have them today, and the way that people are paid through those positions. Yeah.
Out of all those people that I exposed, the first person to get punished was me. But as upsetting as that situation was, what's happening here with Max's video is something that I find even more concerning. I mean, age restriction is one thing, but to have your video removed completely with no justification and with no chance to appeal it is something that shouldn't happen under any circumstances. I mean, it really is a shame because those who are on here exposing predators and doing so in a fair and responsible way, just like Max was, deserve to have a platform here and deserve to be celebrated for the work they're doing. And yet, all too often, it's YouTube who's taking action against these creators. And when they do that, they are not only actively siding with these predators, but they are actively protecting them as well.
YouTube likes to put on this front that they care about the creators. When anybody who's worked in the platform,
oh, I like this guy. I love this guy. I found this guy when he was at like 4K or like 4K. This guy's great. Ghost Scum is great.
Rice Gum better.
Rice Gum's Asian.
The only thing they care about is talent. And if you're seen as a little bit unmarketable or a little bit edgy, you're completely screwed. Doesn't matter if you actually are. The thought of you maybe being that is enough to get you completely screwed. And so what ends up happening is they end up censoring these really important things, like people raising awareness or people investigating things or trying to expose things. They end up censoring them because they're a little bit dark. Imagine outlets not publishing stories or exposés or really hard-hitting things because the subject matter was sensitive. It's just so ridiculous to think about. YouTube pretends to care about the creators when they don't.
The overall problem with YouTube is that it cares more for its public appearance than it does for those who actually make the platform work. Content creators, especially those who focus on investigative reporting, are very often either heavily censored or flat out removed from the website if we, for lack of a better words, get too loud. If we know our place and don't shine a light on the elephant in the room, we are safe. But if we actually do our job, then we are punished.
You know, when we look at YouTube's policies, some of the content that I was making specifically did cover upon people that were actually predatory towards underage people on the internet. And that's a big problem. It's a reality. Whether you go on YouTube, whether you go on Facebook, whether you go on Discord, whether you go on any platform, there's always creepy adults who are willing to use their power and advantage to overpower actual underage individuals. And that's disgusting, and it's actually really sick. And the problem that we have on YouTube is even if you follow all the rules and all the guidelines and you blur every single thing imaginable, you're still potentially facing some level of a privacy guideline strike. And I don't know how it gets handled. Sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. But even if you attempt to follow every single rule, it seems as though that many of these sites tend to favor and protect a lot of these individuals, even if it is unintentionally. Hell, just look at some of these harassment guidelines. If you even leak out or potentially mention somebody else, you could. It's such a vague terms of service that who knows? Somebody may potentially take advantage of it and use it to strike your channel. It feels as though every time you actually try to bring light to something disgusting like this and have it potentially investigated and shut down, you're the bad guy. Okay, so really, it restricts a lot of people from putting their effort into it.
Yeah, no. Like, as I said, this is like the same point's getting reiterated again and again and again. It's almost being rephrased at this point. I think it's really important. I think that of YouTubers in this video are going to point this out, that it's really, really important that the terms of service be well-defined, that it be well-defined to an extent of which we can predict which videos are going to go down, and we can tread that line really, really carefully, right?
And unfortunately, it feels as though the system is geared against people trying to do actual good, and it seems like the people who are actually the malicious and fucked up people in nature are the ones that may unintentionally get protected with all these new guidelines and privacy issues and all that. But generally, that's the way that I feel about it. I literally had to stop making content because it feels like I was the one being targeted by the lords above, if you will.
I am an investigative journalist, and if YouTube takes that
away... Good technicals.
Uh-oh.
Not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. We don't need to talk about technicals defending a pedophile. That's not what we're here for today. Technicals is really great at this investigative journalism system.
Okay.
Except for when it comes to really obese Smash players who are way past their prime and should never have come back to this platform. I'm just saying. He has a pretty good track record other than that. But that was a pretty big slip up, you know. As he'd put it, he's been caught with his red-handed, a little bit of a slip up, you know. It's weird, so weird, because Jimmy Dore does anti-vax videos all the time, but his channel is not shut down because YouTube favors larger channels. But channels that are like smaller, if you don't have that mainstream presence, you're not going to be able to fight back against that. And then you also have to understand, it's almost like a flip of the die at times. It's actually like flip of the coin, that like your video will get taken down and somebody else's video cannot get taken down. And it's going to be so obscure as to why that you don't know how to tread that line. And that's the problem with the terms of service as they're enforced today. Anyways, this guy did some unlikable things. I'm not a big fan of this guy. We've already responded to this guy on my live stream. This guy's a gamer.
Stinky.
He's not quite the best.
I'm sure Technicals is a great guy other than owning those group chats. And
his hair looks
that
fucking
zero
stupid.
stuff. And okay, now we're just gonna get like, what are you gonna say next? His skin color's a little bit too dark for you.
No, he's actually pretty cute.
away from me, I want to be able to take care of my cats.
I say that?
You'd be taking food out of the mouths of hardworking individuals
Nifty,
and putting
you're black?
Nifty's like the ultimate race, okay? We don't even have to get into it's like so obscure.
Oh my
like,
god,
Nifty's
I fucking did it again. Oh my
And
god, I did it again. You're joking right now.
To watch the rest of the fucking video.
Okay.
No, I literally
it into the mouths of pedophiles.
YouTube has never really given a shit about investigative journalism content. I think that's really a given. While YouTube in recent years has tried to be a squeaky clean company that not many people could be offended by, investigative journalism inherently goes into topics that are controversial or require a lot of depth to get into. It doesn't really matter if these investigative pieces could actually help real law enforcement with actual crimes, which is why some small investigative journalism channels are being taken down, because YouTube thinks people won't notice. We need to show them that we do, and that if they continue to do it, it's going to look bad on them as a company for all of us.
What worries me about the state of YouTube isn't just how it seems to prioritize mainstream media over investigative journalism or independent journalism, but also how it takes these concepts that it uses to solve soft censor commentators, and it applies it to the rest of YouTube. Just as a film analyst and reviewer myself, there's a lot of censoring that I have to do on my own channel. I love the platform of YouTube, but I don't feel like it supports my own free speech, and I think that a lot of discussions are stifled because we creators feel like there are just things that we cannot talk about. This is how we've been conditioned.
I definitely don't think it's great that YouTube sometimes removes content that exposes pedophiles and animal abusers. I understand that YouTube has strict advertisement guidelines, but a lot of dark content creators and investigative channels are truly facing negative repercussions. Hopefully YouTube is willing to work on this sensitive issue and make changes that are better for the community.
My name is Jay Boss, and I've been a voice actor for Mama Max for a couple of years at this point. With the takedown of his most recent video, you can't really help but begin to theorize that although the method of delivery is unique, it still acts as this campaign of awareness against individuals on the internet that are engaging in felonious acts such as pedophilia and grooming. And with YouTube's consistent censorship and suppression of Max, you can't help but ask the question, why?
As a creator who tries to bring more attention to sensitive and dark subjects in the online realm, I also feel neglected and let down by YouTube. Max is one of many creators on the platform that supports YouTube in their quest to fight against the exploit of minors. YouTube is doing themselves no favor by striking and deleting content, exposing the same problem they are trying to fix. Max's videos contain months of work to collect as much evidence as possible. YouTube thanks him by making his life as hard as possible, by not communicating, deleting his videos, and striking his channel.
So Mama Max, he hit me up and he's like, look, I'm doing this video, do you want to be a part of it? And I thought, you know what, actually I do, because he's right in what he's saying. With his work, obviously it's investigations into very dark territory, people that are abusing kids. It's very important to put that out there and show the world what's going on. You would think if YouTube was staying to its original ethos, that YouTube would be a great place to do that, show the world where otherwise this kind of information might not get out there. Now what they're doing is they're trying to censor stuff.
One thing that's really frustrating about this video to me is you actually pay attention. It's almost like they were all given a script. You're all told exactly what to say.
It's probably
a really good. It's probably a really. I'm not gonna knock the video completely. It's probably a really good video if you're not paying like hyper close attention to what everyone's saying. But I don't know if you noticed yet. They're all saying the exact same thing with different mannerisms, different words, and with with different accents. You know.
What exactly is your stance on this video so far?
It seems to be, it's saying things that I've said about YouTube for a pretty long time now. Even back like when I used to like do much more like weird sensitive stuff. I used to cover pedophile allegations. My first actual large video was actually covering, it was an investigative piece. Yeah, it was actually into like a cat killer, right? And like I did that. You kind of have to know where you can and can't go, because if you don't, you're gonna get fucked. You're gonna get absolutely railed up the ass by the 12-inch bad dragon dildo that is the YouTube community guideline system. Yeah.
Sounds
and
good.
There's no saving your asshole from that shit. There's no saving him. Quite simply, the way that it's set up right now is really unfavorable to like any type of content that gets slightly close to there. And it's fucked. It's genuinely a fucked system. I wish I can keep saying the exact same thing over and over and over again. We could go over the exact same points over and over and over again. But I think main central like prescriptive argument that I'm going to make is the same. We need to know when videos will get struck down. We need to know who's reviewing these videos, and these videos need to be reviewed much more meticulously. And we, again, need much more communication as to what will get us taken down, what won't, right? How close can we stray to that line before we get our channel fucked? It's a really big problem. It's genuinely a huge problem on YouTube. I don't think people understand how much pressure this puts on like certain creators as to what they can make. Like I know political creators who have completely, just as I have, completely gone away from like certain subjects because that'll get you like so. It's terrible. Like it's terrible betting. You're basically betting against yourself at that point. It's a terrible idea. But you do want to cover these subjects. It's important that somebody does. But we can. We're discouraged actively from covering these things. And that's an issue. And I feel like that should be addressed by YouTube. Now, one thing that people were doing with this video, and I'm not really seeing it, is they were comparing it to like an Instagram wake up thing, right? Like, another like call to action. I don't really see it as that because the practice isn't really contacting advertisers. We don't really see that happening here. In fact, it's for a completely separate reason. It's to have more mature content up on the platform rather than mature content being dissuaded from the platform. So it seems to be like almost the opposite of Instagram wake up, even if the general like call to action is still like a call to action in the same way. You could call it. The motives for that call to action are polarizingly different. So I do see a distinction between those two, and I think the comparison is really unfair.
We should all just move to Vivo.com, right?
Yeah, dude. I'll just move to Vivo. Is there anything like really interesting that comes from this? Has anyone watched the full video? Did they say anything different?
People saying.
Do they say anything different? Is anything new past this halfway point?
Well, I mean, you know, there's Turkey Tom, there's Boblax in there, so...
Turkey Tom and I'm literally just gonna skip Turkey Tom and Boblax. So I want to hear one of them say the N-word.
Oh
yeah, no, or the fact that what you said to Turkey Tom
skipped
was
it. I
very
think it's after
beautiful.
this dude.
Yo, is that Technical's brother? No, it's Technical's again. Damn, I thought that was the one who sent the dick pics to minors. He's my favorite Technical brother. All right. Where's Turkey Tom? Where is Turkey? Where is the Turkis of the Tom? Where is the Turkis of the Tom?
No.
Where's Thomas?
Where's the Thomas of turkeys?
So they.
Oh, there we go. We found him. We found him. We found Turkey Tom. We found the guy who said the N-word that one time.
For me personally, has been issues with YouTube's privacy complaint system.
It was
YouTube
fun.
has a system in place to allow private figures to request retractions on public YouTube videos if they feel information about them, like their identity, has been compromised by that video. Information that deserves to be private. In theory, this seems like a good idea, but in practice, this allows some bad actors to silence criticism. About half a year ago, I posted a video about an individual who I would love to name, who spent his time being a sex pest in people's messages by, well, there's really no way to put this nicely, sending pictures of himself wearing a diaper in women's DMs. So, I posted a 17-minute breakdown of who he is. Keep in mind, I censored all of his private info for his own safety, while still telling the story accurately. He created his own thread on gossip forums in order to humiliate himself, and even posted his full name and address. I merely talked about the fact that he did this, and was punished. YouTube allowed this person to abuse the privacy system multiple times to get the video taken down. But I can't help but find it funny that YouTube took down my video, claiming that I was engaging in violating this guy's privacy, and later harassing him, when he was the one who brought it all on himself in the first place, and intentionally. Embarrassing. I've been Turkey Tom. Bye.
It pains me to say YouTube.
See, he did it. He did the thing where he says something different than every other person in the video. That was cool. I wish everybody else did that. That would be interesting. Rather than say that's the only thing I have like with this video. It's so repetitive. It's the same thing over and over. It's the same thing being restated. And I like him comment on that. I don't know who like he's referring to. I'm not like a huge Turkey Tom fan. Liam, do you know who he's talking about? Liam, do you know who he's talking about?
I know exactly who he's talking about. Remember that situation where this person got off on humiliation, but then once Turkey Tom made a video on him, for some reason he decided then that was too far.
What a gamer. That's most critical. What a gamer.
Okay, so is this entire video just compiled of other people's videos?
I best believe.
Bro, I feel like he's going. I feel like he's in my ear. Is that a problem? Like, I feel. Okay.
I kind of like.
Gotta be. No, it's like.
I feel like he's. I feel like he's right here, and he's like vocal frying the shit, and this is what it sounds like, and it's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
His voice is really sexy. Yours isn't.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point, and I would acknowledge that.
Creeper.
It's still very weird.
Doesn't mean you have to do
Listen, this video, I'm not gonna be able to get through all of it. It seems like it's gonna be the same thing reported over and over. This video is genuinely good. The things that they talk about in this video are important things, and I think they're legitimate problems with YouTube that should be addressed, that I think do deserve a lot more attention. And I genuinely do support the cause. You will notice that in this podcast recording that's going to come out whenever Jaco finishes editing it and censors out all of Pie Man's slurs, I was saying the exact same thing before this video came out. I think this is a really large problem. And I'm genuinely happy that I got a chance to talk about it on my own platform in a way that felt natural. Because this is a huge issue. And things like this really need to be addressed. They genuinely do. It's terrible the way the YouTube works right now. Yeah, there you go. I covered the pick aside YouTube thing. Hold up. Can I do, if this becomes a YouTube segment, Creeper, you should edit this into a YouTube segment. Like the video, give me attention, post it everywhere, send it to your grandma. I'm sure your grandma would really appreciate the subject matter. In fact, send it to her with like a card. Just like print out the URL of the YouTube video on a card. And I do mean this legitimately, or handwrite it yourself if you're really feeling spicy that day. And mail it to her. Mail it to your grandmother who doesn't know how an email works. Do that because I need clout and attention. Thank you. All right.
It's depressing.
You're not wrong.
No.
Not
Let me say my opinion, bitch.
Whoa!
What was
you broke up the bitch word.
I said, bitch.
Listen up here, bitch. YouTube is another big corporation being a big corporation, suppressing pedo exposed videos, not for safety, but for money. They do it for money, not for people's safety. So YouTube is just being another big corporation. We should stop YouTube as a result.
Thank you, Nifty.
Okay, but like, can we watch the Bosch Minecraft video?
Fuck off.
Do you want to gamers?
The original
gamers want to watch?
The original plan for this stream was for Bunk and I to sit in a call alone and watch videos about people calling Scrimzox transphobic slurs.
Yeah, let's watch that, please. I want to do that. No, I want to fucking do that now.
Look, I told somebody on Twitch. No, I told somebody.
You told
Holy Jesus Christ! Just stop talking. It's really easy. You have to do fucking nothing at all. Literally, you have to sit there and do fucking nothing, and you fail to do it somehow. It's astonishing. It's actually impressive how fucking spastic you all are.
Fuck Bunk. Tired of that dumbass loser. Crying in his bedroom while I'm cruising in my cruiser. This dumbass bitch, thinking that he's cool while streaming on Twitch. Call this Vietnam, we're gonna get you on a weight loss program. Everyone knows, you will never be a pro. Well, I'm putting my rap game, always tripping out, never no problems with burnout. The vids keep coming, so does the drama, clear in your notepad. Your tweets aging with a granddad. Capital of Chad, doing flips. Everyone in the chat, Bunk is a bitch. Yeah.